In the future, Earth is no longer the vibrant blue world we once knew, but a scorched, lifeless wasteland. A massive solar flare struck 10 years ago, stripping away the ozone layer and exposing the planet to relentless ultraviolet radiation. Temperatures now soar to nearly 150 degrees Fahrenheit. The sky burns, the ground cracks. What remains is a world where stepping outside unprotected means certain death. In this broken landscape, we meet Finch, one of the last surviving humans. A robotics engineer by profession, Finch has adapted to this brutal new reality. He ventures out only in a specialized suit designed to shield him from both the heat and the deadly UV rays. His days are spent scavenging through the ruins of abandoned cities, searching for anything that might help him survive just a little longer. Accompanying him on these dangerous outings is Dewey, a small utility robot. Together, they enter what used to be a grocery store. Inside, the shelves are bare, the aisles silent. Finch's instruments warn him that UV radiation levels are dangerously high, even indoors. Time is limited. Still, he carefully gathers what he can, most importantly, a can of dog food. After leaving the store, Finch marks the location. Every scavenged building is tracked, every resource accounted for. In this world, nothing can be wasted. As Finch drives through the remains of a once bustling city, the emptiness is overwhelming. Cars sit abandoned, buildings stand hollow. There are no people, only silence. The sun has made the surface uninhabitable, forcing survivors, if any remain, underground. Suddenly, an alarm sounds inside his suit. A massive storm is approaching. Finch doesn't hesitate. He slams the accelerator, racing against a towering wall of dust and destruction, chasing him across the landscape. The storm roars behind him like a living thing, swallowing everything in its path. Just as it begins to overtake him, Finch reaches his underground shelter, an old laboratory that once belonged to the company he worked for before the world fell apart. He seals himself inside, safe, for now. But survival has come at a cost. Finch is dying. Years of radiation exposure have taken their toll. His body is failing, and he knows his time is limited. Waiting for him inside the shelter is Goodyear, his dog, his companion, his family. In a world where everything else has been lost, Goodyear is his reason to keep going. Finch greets him warmly, feeding him the food he risked his life to find. While the dog eats happily, Finch quietly sips a drink. He's conserving what little he has left, because soon he won't be here anymore. And that's exactly what terrifies him. Not death itself, but what will happen to Goodyear after he's gone. Determined to solve this, Finch begins working on a final project, a robot designed to take care of his dog. Using the lab's AI systems, he starts programming basic instructions: how to feed a dog, how to maintain a shelter, how to complete daily tasks. But more than that, he wants this robot to understand responsibility and even emotion. After many failed attempts, the machine finally responds. It learns, it listens, it understands. Finch names him Jeff. Jeff quickly establishes his core rules. He must never harm humans, and above all else, he must protect Goodyear at any cost. Finch watches this with relief. For the first time in a long time, he feels hope. But that hope is short-lived. A new threat emerges, an unprecedented weather pattern. 4 massive storms are converging, and according to Jeff's calculations, they will last over 40 days. Staying in the shelter is no longer an option. They need to leave. Finch decides their best chance lies in San Francisco, a place where the weather might be more stable. Time is running out. Finch rushes to complete Jeff's physical body. However, the process is cut short at just 72% data transfer. Jeff becomes functional, but incomplete. He thinks like a child, filled with curiosity, confusion, and endless questions. With no other choice, they pack what they can into an RV and set out on the road. Finch, Jeff, Goodyear, and Dewey. At first, Jeff is fascinated by everything. He watches Finch closely, trying to mimic his behavior, asking questions about the simplest things. The world is new to him. But not everyone is as welcoming. Goodyear doesn't trust Jeff. Not yet. They stop in an abandoned town, where Finch demonstrates how to scavenge safely and explains the dangers of the sun. In one strangely light-hearted moment, they even use the intense heat outside to pop popcorn, something so absurd it almost feels like humor in a dying world. But danger is never far away. A storm suddenly catches up to them. In a desperate attempt to survive, Finch and Jeff secure the RV with cables. Finch struggles as his health weakens, but Jeff steps in, finishing the task with surprising strength and determination. The storm hits with full force. Wires snap one by one, the RV shakes violently, and then silence. They made it, but not without consequences. The vehicle is damaged, supplies are dwindling, and Finch is getting worse. Still, the journey continues. Jeff continues to learn, slowly becoming more capable. But mistakes happen. Finch, already exhausted and sick, loses his temper. He reminds Jeff of his purpose, protecting Goodyear. It's a harsh lesson, but a necessary one. That night, under a sky illuminated by unnatural northern lights, visible now due to the destroyed ozone layer, Jeff suggests traveling at night to avoid the sun. But Finch warns him. Night brings its own dangers, desperate survivors. Soon after, Jeff and Dewey venture into a ruined city to gather supplies. Inside a looted hospital, they search for anything useful. But tragedy strikes. Dewey is destroyed by a hidden trap. Jeff runs back to the RV and Finch helps him get on, but they're not alone. Someone has been watching them. They flee, pursued by an unknown vehicle. In the chaos, Finch makes a critical error, driving into an underpass too low for the RV. The crash destroys their solar panels, leaving them without a reliable power source. They finally escape. For the first time, Finch breaks. He blames himself. But Jeff doesn't give up. He promises they'll still make it. That night, Finch opens up about his past, about the day he found Goodyear abandoned and terrified, and about the moment he realized what kind of person he had become. Not a hero, a survivor, someone who hid while others suffered. That guilt has never left him. The next morning, something incredible happens. A butterfly lands on the windshield. At first it seems impossible, but as Finch steps outside, he realizes the truth. The UV radiation has weakened. For the first time in years, the sun is safe. They step into a world slowly healing. Flowers bloom, life returns. They stop for a picnic, something Finch hasn't experienced in over a decade. For a moment, it feels like the world is coming back. But Finch knows the truth. He won't live to see it. As they continue, Jeff calculates that they can reach the Golden Gate Bridge in less than a day. But Finch knows he won't make it that far. In his final moments, he teaches Jeff one last lesson: how to earn Goodyear's trust. He hands him the dog's ball. "Play with him," he says. "That's where it starts." Soon after, Finch collapses. Jeff stays with him until the end. Finch dies peacefully, knowing Goodyear won't be alone. Jeff honors him with a funeral, burning his body along with the suit that kept him alive. Now, it's just Jeff and Goodyear. At first, there's distance, but slowly, trust forms. They play, they bond, they become a family. Eventually, they reach the Golden Gate Bridge. Jeff builds a memorial for Finch. Around them are messages left by survivors, proof that humanity still exists, hope still exists. In the final moment, Jeff leaves behind a drawing of himself, Finch, and Goodyear, a family that once was. Then, together, Jeff and Goodyear walk forward into the unknown, not just surviving, but living.